Welcome to Read Along, everybody, and today's episode is on Codex Thousand Suns. Welcome to CanHammer, everybody, your source for 40k from the Great White North. Today I have a read-along of the new Codex Thousand Suns, or as I will refer to them from now on, Codex 1000 Suns. I love it. 1000 Suns. So anyway, this is not an anticipated codex by myself, not being a Chaos player, but as my responsibility to you, the viewer, I do review and look at every single codex. So here we go. I may not talk too much about every single entry or get maybe as excited as I did during my Custodes read along, but we'll see what's going on with these 1000 Suns. So let's get started. Obviously they are Egyptian themed for whatever reason. Alright, so page 66 out of 104, so again 2/3 fluff. And let's get started. So we've got Warriors of Lost Prospero. Following abilities are common. So they have Death to the False Emperor, which of course is exploding 6s in the fight phase against the Imperium, same as all heretics. They have Demonic Ritual, like all the other ones. Okay, so here we have Ahriman. Now Ahriman, if you didn't realize, is a beast in combat. I think I was playing that game against Eric, and Ahriman literally kicks ass in combat. So he hits on 2s, he has 4 attacks, his staff is +2 strength, so strength 6 -1, and a straight up 3 damage, which is hardcore. And yeah. The other thing that he is amazing about is that he can manifest 3 powers, but most importantly, he can deny 3 powers. I don't know of many psychers who can deny 3 powers, so that's very strong. And apparently this book has 3 psychic disciplines for you to choose from, so that is also quite strong for their psychers. And these guys are obviously a psycher-orientated army. So here we go, Demon Prince, Exalted Sorcerer, Sorcerer, and the Sorcerer and Terminator armor, Rubric Marines. Alright, so Rubric Marines are interesting. They're just a normal Marine stat line, except they only move 5 inches instead of 6. And the Sergeant is a Sorcerer. And otherwise, they are armed with the Inferno Bolt Gun. And the so the Inferno Bolt Gun is same as a Bolter, except it's -2 AP, which is pretty sweet. So it's a -2 AP bolter, basically, still rapid fire, 124 inches. Now they can get this Soul Reaper cannon, which is 4 shots, strength 5 -3, 1 damage, so pretty decent. And they can get this Warp Flamer, which is a assault D6 flamer that is strength 4, but again -2 AP, 1 damage, so that's pretty sweet. And they get +1 save against attacks that have a damage characteristic of 1, so that makes these guys get a 2+ save against stuff that does 1 damage, which is pretty good. And -1 to hit modifier for hit rolls for moving and shooting with heavy weapons does not apply, so the Soul Reaper is good on these guys. And they have a 5+ invuln, and they can do a mortal wound on a 6. The Sorcerer herself is a Psyker who can cast a power and deny a power, so that makes them pretty good, but I don't think they get any kind of Brotherhood sort of rule, just that one model. Yeah. Yeah, so they're they're kind of like extra strong Marines, a little bit extra slower, pretty good. We're going to see at the end how many points they are compared to normal tactical Marines, but decent. Now, of course, Tzaangors have made their way over from AOS as a troops choice now for 1,000 suns, and they are 6-inch move, 3+ weapon skill, 4+ ballistic skill, 4/4/1/1. A leadership of 6 only, and a 6+ save with a 5+ invuln, so demon save basically. And a unit is of 10, a twist bray, and 9 Tzaangors, and they are armed with Tzaangor blades, which are strength 4, -1/1, and gives you an extra attack. So they're like chain swords except with a -1 AP, which is decent. They're only 4 power, so they must be pretty cheap. And you can take them in units of 30. Yeah, so you take 10 and then you can include up to additional 20. So you could take 30 of these guys. And you can add 1 to your advance and charge rolls and reroll failed hits when just targeting a character. So decent. I guess we're going to be seeing a lot of things that maybe buff these guys. So we'll see. And anything that gets buffed when they're a unit of 30 becomes a real powerhouse in this game. These are cultists. Won't go over them, just standard cultists. They get the horrors, which are the same as the demon codex basically. And the shaman. The Tzaangor shaman is an elite with 3 attacks and gets the same, the blades and the force staff, and can be on the disc. And it adds 1 to any hit rolls for Tzaangor units within 6. So already now you can see a unit of 30 Tzaangors hitting on 2s in combat and 3s shooting. Well, they only have auto pistols, but so they're hitting on 2s in combat. 30 Tzaangors, each one making 2 attacks. So that's already 60 attacks hitting on 2s with the shaman nearby. And of course the shaman can re-roll the first failed psychic test that you make and can cast and deny 1 power. So pretty good and probably won't be that expensive. So Siege Flamers, they got unchanged basically. So the Scarab Occult Terminators. So these guys are standard Terminators, T4, 2 wounds, 2 attacks, 2+ save. The only way these guys are different is that they have the Sorcerer and they have the Inferno Combi Bolter, which is a rapid fire 2 -2 AP bolter, so pretty good. So it's like a Storm Bolter basically, but with AP -2 and a Power Sword. And they have the Soul Reaper Cannon and the Heavy Warp Flamer, which is heavy D6, strength 5, -2/1. So a nice little flamer weapon. Otherwise, they also get the benefit of All is Dusts. Add 1 to saving throw for damage characteristics that does 1 damage, which basically makes it impossible to kill these guys with that kind of weapon. And the Sorcerer can cast. Okay, actually, so these sorcerers, the Rubric Marine Sorcerer and the Terminator Sorcerer only does 1 mortal wound on a smite instead of D3. Interesting. Okay, Hellbrute, it's the same normal Chaos Hellbrute. Tzaangor Enlightened. So Tzaangor Enlightened is a fast attack, Enlightened and the Aviarch. This is a unit of 3 models. And they are armed with the Divining Spear. So the Divining Spear, so I think the Tzaangor Enlightened are actually the Skyfires. I think that's what they mean. I guess we're going to see if Skyfires appear in this list, but I think that's what they're called in 40k. The Skyfires are now Tzaangor Enlightened, and they have spears, which are strength 5, -1/1 damage, and the damage is increased to 2 if they charge, so not too bad. Chainswords, or they can upgrade to the Fate Caster Great Bow, which is a 24-inch Assault 2 heavy bolter, basically. So maybe not even as good as a heavy bolter, except it's Assault. Yeah, they have 5+ invuln, 6+ save, and if you make a hit roll of 6+, it automatically wounds. Not too bad. Screamers, still not good. Toughness 4, 2 wounds, 6+ save, 5+, 4+ invuln. Okay, Screamers have 4+ invuln. Slashing attacks. So they still have slashing attacks. Choose one of those enemy units, roll a d6 for each Screamer in this unit. On a 6, it inflicts a mortal wound. And the Lamprey Bright is strength 6, -3 AP, 2 damage. That's not too bad. 16-inch move, fast attack. So there's no Screamer star, but that's a neat little unit there. Chaos Spawn. Okay, there's your Chaos Spawn. And actually, look at that. You can actually see some Chaos Spawn models. I didn't know they actually had official models. Alright, Mutalith Vortex Beast, which is from AOS. If you don't know, it is, let's see if they have a picture of it, they must do. This thing. This crazy beastie thing over up there with all the tendrils and the big portal on top of it. Pretty cool model. Anyway, let's see what it does. So the Mutalith Vortex Beast is a monster. It has 4+4+, a full strength movement of 8 inches only, strength 7, toughness 7, 14 wounds, so it's like a you know, a little bit stronger than a predator. Has 4 attacks at full strength and a 4+ save with a 5+ invuln. It has enormous claws and a betangled maw. The betangled maw is strength 7, -1/1. Make 3 hit rolls for each attack made with this weapon instead of 1. Sweet. So that actually does 12 attacks. Wow. Okay, so that's 12 attacks, strength 7, AP -1, 1 damage. Pretty sweet. And it has claws as well. So this is 4 attacks, -2 AP, 2 damage. So this thing is a bit of a beast in combat, like almost like a little mini knight. Which brings to mention whether those mini knights are going to be like that. Anyway, and then it has mutant regeneration. At the beginning of each of your turns, it regains 1 wound. And warp vortex. At the start of each of your shooting phases, you can have this model attempt to use a single Mutalith vortex power of your choice from this table. Or you can randomize it, rolling a d6, and if you do, you can have 2 powers, and then you resolve one, then the other. Each time you attempt to use the power, roll the d6, and if it's greater than this result here, then it goes off. So at full strength, it goes off on a 2+, and then at lowest tier, it goes off on a 4+, so not too bad. What does it do? Okay, d6 number 1, Warp Flare. Enemy units within 9 inches immediately suffer a mortal wound. Okay. Chaotic Infusion. Tzaangors unit from your army within 9 inches. Add 1 to that unit's strength. Decent. Temporal Flux. Pick the Tzaangors unit from your army within 9 inches. Rerolled failed charge rolls. Wow. So if it's already within 1 inch of the enemy unit, they fight first as if they had charged. That's awesome. Ephemeral Touch. Pick a Tzaangors unit from your army within 9 inches. Improve AP of all weapons by 1, which is great. And Maelstrom of Madness. Pick an enemy unit within 9 inches. Reduce leadership by 1. And Beam of Unreality. Roll 3 dice on each roll of 4+. The closest enemy unit within 18 inches visible suffers a mortal wound. That's okay, like a mini smite. Wow, okay. There's certainly some use here. If you were gonna pick one, well, it depends what, but at least the middle 3 are decent. Very interesting. Unstable Energy. If this model has 7 or fewer wounds remaining at the start of your shooting phase, ranges of its Mutalith Vortex powers are doubled. However, it will suffer a mortal wound if you roll a 1 when the model attempts to use a power. Okay, interesting. So the range goes to 18 inches for most of these, for all of these powers, which is very wide. 18-inch diameter is 36 inches. That's half the table basically, which is awesome. But it'll suffer a mortal wound. It's already halfway dead. So okay, that's pretty good. Warp Implosion. If it explodes on a 6, it explodes. Yeah. D6 mortal wounds when it explodes. Pretty cool. Okay, well that's very interesting. 8 power, heavy support, so it doesn't seem like it's going to be overly expensive. I guess we'll see. Here's your Predator. Won't go over that, it's just a Predator. And a Vindicator and a Land Raider. All standard Marine stuff. And the Defiler, Forge Fiend, Mauler, standard Chaos Space Marine stuff. Rhino, Helldrake, and Magnus. So, Magnus. I don't think his stats have changed. Strength 8, Toughness 7, 18 wounds, 7 attacks, 3+ save. His blade, I think it's unchanged. The only thing that's changed is he has a 4+ invuln. Yeah, which he had before. He can still go up to a 3+. Gaze of Magnus. So Primarch of the Thousand Suns is now reroll hit rolls of 1 and any dice rolls of 1 that are made as part of a psychic test for Thousand Suns units within 9 inches. It is no longer reroll his invuln save. So Magnus got a little bit of a nerf. No more rerolling 1s on his invulns, which makes him that much easier to kill. He's still a very strong psyker, and he has more powers to choose from now. So in that way he got buffed. Here's your all your weaponry. All right, let's go on to the good stuff. So of course they get OBSEC and Brotherhood of Sorcerers. Range of all psychic powers manifested by units with this ability are increased by 6 inches. Pretty sweet. Warlord traits. Arrogance of Eons. Rerolled, denied a witch test for the Warlord. Okay, pretty good. Undying Form. Reduce all damage suffered by a Warlord by 1. That's pretty good. Ether Stride. Warlord can advance and charge in the same turn and can reroll failed charge rolls. That is good. Warlord knows an additional psychic power. Okay. Otherworldly prescience. Improve your Warlord's invuln save by 1, which is obviously good. And High Magister. Add 1 to any psychic test you take for your Warlord. Decent. So Iron Man gets Otherworldly presence, so he gets a 3+ invuln automatically, and Magnus gets 1 additional psychic power, which is crazy, but it is what it is. Okay, so we have 3 pages of stratagems, but maybe not that many stratagems because one of them is half the page. Let's see, Linebreaker. So they get a lot of the marine stuff, I guess. So Linebreaker, Bombardment, Great Sorcerer, Psyker immediately attempts to do another power. Fire Frenzy. If the Hellbrute doesn't move, it can shoot its weapons twice, but targets the nearest enemy unit. Demon Forge. Reroll fail hit and wound rolls for Thousand Suns vehicle. Coruscating Beam. 3 CP. Use this stratagem in the shooting phase if you have a Thousand Suns Warlord that did not move. Oh, so this is just Orbital Bombardment. Kabbalistic Focus. Use the stratagem before manifesting a psychic power at least 6 inches. So this is your Librarius Conclave. This is the Relic stratagem. Here's your kill shot for your Predators. Blasphemous Machines. For vehicles, before they shoot, the vehicle can ignore penalties for moving and firing heavy weapons or for advancing and firing assault weapons. Warp Flame Gargoyles. Use this strategy at the start of the fight phase. Pick a Thousand Suns vehicle, but not a Hellbrute or a Helldrake. Roll a d6 for each unit within 3 inches of it, subtracting 2 from the roll. Does mortal wounds. Okay. Chaos Familiar. It's the one that lets you replace your powers from a different discipline, like Chaos Space Marines have. Sorcerer's Pact. Changes your summoning, like Chaos Space Marines. Veterans of the Long Wars here. Boon of Tzeentch is your standard Chaos table there. Webway Infiltration, so for 1 CP or 3 CP, you can set up 1 or 2 units for Deep Strike. So Thousand Suns Infantry, so probably doesn't work on Magnus. He is not infantry. And Soul Flare, 1 CP. Use this stratagem when a Thousand Suns aspiring sorcerer or scarab occult sorcerer is slain. Before removing it, roll a d6 for each enemy unit within 6 inches of that model. Subtract 2 from the rolls out if it's a character or vehicle, and a 4+ unit being suffered a mortal wound. Okay, kind of a dying gasp. Fated Mutation. Use this stratagem in the fight phase. Before Chaos Spawn attacks, instead of rolling a d3, reroll the number. Okay, so that's for Spawn specifically. Vengeance for Prospero. Use this stratagem just before Thousand Suns unit fights in the fight phase. Death from the False Emperor triggers on 4+ instead of 6+ against Space Wolves. So that's a very fluffy stratagem that will not be in handy unless you're playing Space Wolves. The Flesh Change, 1 CP. Use this stratagem at the start of any phase. Pick a Thousand Suns infantry character from your army. That character is slain, but you add a Chaos Spawn. If you do so, set up the Chaos Spawn, blah, blah, blah. Does not cost reinforcement. Okay, so that gives you a spawn for free. Inferno Bolt. Use this stratagem for the battle. Select Thousand Suns vehicle, army, and select a Combi Bolter, Combi Melter, Combi Flamer, Heavy Bolter, or Twin Heavy Bolter. Weapon is upgraded to fire Inferno rounds. AP goes to -2. Baleful Vortex. Use this stratagem after a Mutalith Vortex Beast has resolved a Vortex power. Roll a d6 to randomly select a Mutalith Vortex power. The power Vortex Beast immediately uses the power rolled, even if it's already used that power this phase. That power is automatically successful. Okay, that might come in handy for sure if you're running a Vortex Beast. Cycle of Slaughter. Tzaangors can immediately fight again. So I think that's where it's at, man, for 2 CP. Like 120 Tzaangors. Alright, so there are 3 psychic disciplines. The Sorceress Arcana. Oh no, these are just the relics. Yeah, we'll come to the psychic disciplines. So for relics, we have Seer's Bane. Yeah, you can have a look at them. I'm not going to read them out to you. So the only thing of note here, other than weapon upgrades, is the Helm of the Third Eye is their 5+ regenerating command point thing. So they got it too. Not quite as good, you can only get 1 command point, but alright, here are the 3 disciplines. The Discipline of Change, Dark Hereticus, and Discipline of Tzeentch. I'll let you read these over, but you've probably seen a lot of these spells. So all the usual ones: Firestorm, Boon, Glamour of Tzeentch, Doombolt, Death Hex, Prescience, Warp Time, Boon of Change, Bolt of Change, Flickering Flames, so Inferno Gateway, all the standard sort of powers. And the points. There we go. So the thing to note is that Magnus went up to 445. Ahriman's a pretty good deal at 166, but Magnus went up and lost his re-rolling 1 in bones. So Mutalith Vortex Beast is 150. I think that's pretty good value. The Rubric Marines are 18 each, so they are 5 points more than a standard Marine, and they are a lot better, so I think that's probably actually good value. Tzaangors are 7 points each, so a unit of 30 Tzaangors will actually cost you 210 points, so it is quite the investment. And then the Shaman is 82, and the in order to give it buffs, so yeah, it is an investment in points, that's for sure. And that's it. So that's a very quick read through of the new 1000 Suns Codex. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. If you like this video, please click on the like below. Feel free to subscribe to our channel here by clicking the CanHammer symbol. And if you'd like to support us make content, please support us on Patreon by clicking up there. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.